Hello everyone. Today I am sharing a new student bullet journal video. This one is definitely geared towards studying because I am approaching final season. I'm actually approaching my final season because it's my 4th year of university. I am graduating. We're all very excited about it, we being me. And the first spread that I'm putting together is an exam timetable. So this semester I kind of lucked out. Usually I have 5 exams, but I only have 3 this year, so I am very happy about that because it kind of eases the stress of final season. I get to end my university career on a sort of positive note. But if you have more than 3 exams, you can definitely expand this to a 2-page spread, but I only needed 1. Essentially how this spread works is each exam gets its own column, and in the box is where I write the course code, the date of the exam. Below it I write down all of the grades that I've received back up until the point of the exam, so I have a good idea of where I stand for each course. And then at the bottom of the columns is where I would write the final grade once I get the final grade after I finish writing the exam. Pretty self-explanatory, but this is a very minimal looking page, but the lines that I added to each column kind of give it a little bit of designy interest. I've been obsessed with lines lately. I feel like I used that in my March plan with me, and you'll see lines pop up again later on in this student bullet journal video. I'm also adding pops of color, which are also things I really like to add to my spreads. I'm using Crayola Super Tips markers, which will be linked down below, as well as links to all of the products I'm using in today's video. For some reason, while I was creating the spread, I ran into a lot of issues. First with my marker, which I made too thick and I had to use whiteout to fix, and then I went back to add more black lines and ended up using my finger and smudged the black line, so I had to white out again. It was a whole situation. You know, sometimes those things just happen and I just gotta laugh it off, but I spent a little bit too much time on this spread just because of these weird mistakes I could not let go. I feel like if it was just something I was doing on my own, I probably would have just let it be, but because I was filming it, I really wanted to fix that because that would have bothered me. The next spread is a course study planner. So again, for each of the courses that I have an exam for, this is something that I'm going to create. At the top of the page is where I write down the format of the final. Usually professors are pretty open with the format of a final. They'll tell you what portion of it's going to be multiple choice, what portion of it's going to be short answer, exam questions, that sort of thing, which does help in the studying because you can sometimes get some hints as to where you should be spending your time. At the bottom of the page, I have 12 blocks to represent the 12 weeks of the semester, and beside that I am writing down the general topics of each week, and this will act as sort of a checklist for my studying. So when I complete or review a week of slides and notes, I can check it off and know that I've covered it. And on the left of the page is where I can write down any areas or weeks that I need to relook at or review again. Those are probably areas that are a little bit content heavy that I'm not getting as naturally. So that is a good reminder to my future self to review those before the final. And we are moving on to my study log. I honestly could have made this 1 page, but I went wild, made it 2. Things are getting crazy here at Caitlin's Corner. And how I put this together is for each of the courses that I have an exam for. I have 3 courses. I created a 12 by 12 square, and within each square are essentially like 3 mini columns where on the left side I write down the date that I am studying or that I have studied, and on the right beside that date I write down the hours or the amount of time that I spent studying for that course on that date. Hopefully it'll become a little bit clearer once you see me label each of the columns, but it is quite simple once you see that work out. I also have a section for each course to write down the total hours spent studying. And then on the bottom right page, I wrote down just some study necessities such as study juice, which is aka coffee, or study snacks, things that just make studying a little bit more pleasant or as pleasant as it can be. So remember earlier in the video when I said I've been obsessed with lines lately? Well, I'm about to take that obsession to a new level because this spread has a lot of lineage happening. We've got horizontal lines, vertical lines, diagonal lines. I embrace them all, and I have already done you the service of speeding through this footage so that you didn't have to sit there and watch each stroke of my pen, because this, as it always is a tedious process. In the space on the left page, I am having my countdown to graduation. It still blows my mind to be saying that. I haven't even processed the fact that I only have like less than 2 weeks of classes left. Like what is happening? But this is technically more like a countdown to my last exam, because my actual graduation ceremony isn't until June, which feels like a little excessive to be doing a countdown that's that long. So counting down to my last exam is pretty much like counting down to my graduation. So there it is. It's a very simple countdown. And on the right page is a section for me to write down an exam survival guide. So this page is filled with Polaroid doodles of different things I like to do to survive finals, exam season, whatever it is that you want to call it. I've done something like this many times in the past, like a spread like this, but I always think it's one that's important to include and to have in my planner, because it is a good reminder to hit the pause button, especially during a time of year where I feel like we're just go, 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 and we just don't feel like we have the time to stop and relax and to have a self-care night, or to do yoga, or to read a book. Oh my goodness, these are things that we think are just impossible to do during this time of year, but I think it's the most important time of the year to do them. You know, when you are stressed or feeling anxious, it's easy to let that snowball, and I know for me personally, if I don't take that time to just do that, just to hit the pause button, then things get a lot more unbearable and harder to deal with. So please, if you're a student and you're stressed, take time for you. It will benefit you in the long run, and it will help your studies because you're going to be in a better mental state. And I'm wrapping it up how I almost always do, with a weekly spread. This one is a notebook paper inspired spread. This is a little bit more of a creative spread. It's still very usable, but this is definitely something that you would do if you have a little bit more time on your hands. If you want some ideas for weekly spreads that are really quick and easy to do, I have a bullet journaling under 10 minutes for student video that you should definitely go check out, because there's some great spreads there for you. Each day of the week gets its own sheet of notebook paper, except Saturday and Sunday. They're buddies. They're sharing real estate because I didn't have the space to add a 7th sheet of paper. On the left side of the page, I added a little text graphic that I found on Google that rearranges the words finals week into Netflix, which I thought was really funny, because there's no time in my life where I want to watch Netflix more than during finals or midterms. I wish I would have taken a little bit more time with planning out how it would look though, because it didn't come out as clean or as nice as it could have been, but you know, it is what it is. And unlike how I usually do these weekly spreads, I actually decided to fill this one out for my first week of finals, because I wanted you guys to see how the finished product will look. I didn't think it would do this spread justice to leave it as is. I'm adding arrows and stars and heart doodles and text boxes just to make it really add to the look of it being a sheet of notebook paper. And I really loved how this turned out. It's fun, but it's still a practical spread. And I definitely can't wait to see how the spread changes up as I use it throughout the next few weeks of final season. So that pretty much wraps up my updated student bullet journal video studying edition. This will not be the last student bullet journal video you get from me though. I do plan on putting out 1 or 2 more, probably before the fall. I plan on putting out a few more student videos in general, sharing my last little bits of university wisdom while it's still fresh in my head, because obviously I'm able to put myself into student shoes because it just happened. Hopefully you're looking forward to that. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know in the comments down below what stage of schooling you're in. If you are in school, are you in high school? Are you in first year, 4th year? Let me know. I'm curious, and I will see you all very soon with a new video. Until then, bye everyone.